I saw the queen eat a human heart with my own eyes. It was still beating when she took a bite. I will never forget that sound. They called her Queen Oseye. She ruled our land with a grip so tight, nobody dared speak against her. People disappeared often. Some were thieves. Some were innocent. It did not matter. When the queen wanted someone gone, they were gone. I was a servant in her palace. I kept my head down. I did not speak unless spoken to. That's how you survive. But nothing could have prepared me for what I saw that night. It was the night of the blood moon. The queen's guards brought in a young man. He was strong, but they had tied him up like an animal. His eyes were wild with fear. He screamed for mercy, but the queen only smiled. She stood from her golden throne, dressed in robes darker than midnight. She walked up to him, her feet silent on the stone floor. The room was filled with the smell of burning herbs, thick and choking. She raised a knife, black as if carved from the night itself, and cut his chest open. The man thrashed, but the guards held him still. Blood poured down his body like a river. My stomach turned. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. With steady hands, she reached inside and pulled out his heart. It was still beating. The sound filled the chamber like a drum. Thump, thump, thump. Then she took a bite. Her eyes rolled back. She chewed slowly, savoring it. A low hum came from her throat, almost like a song. The guards did not flinch. They had seen this before. The queen did not just rule us. She fed on us. I do not know how I escaped that place. My body ran before my mind could think. I ran until my feet bled, until the sun rose, until I could no longer hear the queen's voice whispering my name. Years have passed, but I still see her in my dreams. I still hear the sound of that heart, still feel the weight of her gaze. And sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear footsteps outside my door. She is still out there. And she is still hungry. But my story does not end there. The queen's hunger only grew. She was no ordinary ruler. Some believed she had made a pact with spirits far older than the land itself. Others whispered that she was cursed, bound to feed on the life force of her people to stay alive. One night, after another sacrifice, the queen stood before her people. Her voice was deep and commanding, and she announced that the gods had demanded more. A feast of flesh, she called it. Families wept, but no one spoke against her. To question her was to vanish. I had hidden in the shadows of the palace long enough. I learned the secret of the hidden tunnels beneath the throne room. There were chambers where bones were stacked like firewood. Blood seeped through cracks in the stone. The scent of death lingered everywhere. Then, I saw something worse than death. In the deepest chamber, the queen stood before a great mirror, whispering in a language I did not understand. Her reflection did not move as she did. Instead, it grinned. Its mouth stretched wider than humanly possible, rows of teeth gleaming. The queen reached out, and her reflection reached back. They merged. That night, the queen summoned another victim. This time, it was a woman, pregnant and weak. I could not stand by anymore. I had to stop her. I found an old spear hidden beneath the palace, wrapped in dried leaves and cloth. The elders used to tell stories about weapons made to kill things not of this world. I had nothing to lose. I had to try. I waited in the shadows as the queen raised her blade. Before she could strike, I lunged. The spear pierced her chest, right through the heart. For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. But she did not fall. She laughed. A cold, hollow sound. "Foolish child," she whispered. "Did you think you could kill me?" Her hand closed around the spear, pulling it from her body as if it were nothing more than a splinter. Her blood dripped, dark and thick, onto the floor. The ground trembled beneath us. Then the queen changed. Her skin cracked like old clay, her mouth widened, her fingers stretched into claws. She was no longer human. I ran. There was nothing left to do but run. Now, I hide in the mountains. I tell my story to warn others. But I know she will find me. The queen is still out there. And she is still hungry.